We've got a very potent early season winter storm wreaking havoc over the north central United States, but right behind that is Arctic air that's even more potent, with cool air spilling over all parts of the country at some point by Halloween. Stick around for all of the details for us right here on One Nation Weather.
One Nation Weather.
Alright, let's start right here with the latest alerts from the National Weather Service. We've got flood alerts for us here. These are flood watches over portions of the Red River Valley there in Texas and Oklahoma, but our biggest swath of alerts is over here, over the Mountain West, and particularly Montana, where we have those pink colors indicating the winter storm warning. Let's time out that winter storm as it's moving, and this is our first big one of the season here that's going to impact a good chunk of the north central United States. Stick around, by the way, all the way through the video for the Arctic blast coverage. Now, as we go into towards your early Wednesday morning, we've got some light snowfall in a shield here over western Montana. Also some very heavy snowfall banking up in some of the mountains there. And, Olympia there around in portions of Washington. We've got this very heavy snowfall continuing to push into these areas, and over time this is going to become more of a prolonged event. And even though the snow isn't the worst that we've seen in any sort of event in the past, this is definitely hefty enough to add up to foot-plus totals here, especially into portions of Washington, portions of Idaho, portions of Montana. I'll show you those totals a little later on, but you can definitely see we've got a secondary system that's going to move in Wednesday night into our Thursday. That's going to continue to elevate the snowfall chances, and it's looking like we're definitely not going to be done with the snowfall until we pass Thursday night and go in towards our Friday in this region. But how about portions of the Dakotas, the north central tier? Let's talk about that zone. Here we go. We're starting out for us with the timing as of your Tuesday afternoon, but as we work our way into our early Wednesday morning, notice we get some of the light snowfall here into some of the parts of northeastern Montana as well as far northwestern North Dakota. Overall starting light with a little bit of an icy mix there right along that line corridor. Now, I'm not expecting any sort of ice accumulation or accretion out of this, however you want to call it there, but we're definitely going to see at least some of the snow accumulation on the northern end of this. Now, this first low pressure system is the weaker of the two that's going to be producing snowfall, and you can see how it overall looks to bring light snowfall through the Dakotas. But look at this secondary band of energy that begins moving in as we go towards our Thursday afternoon. This is going to produce some slightly heavier snowfall, and also what you're going to notice with this secondary system that pushes in, we're going to see the winds push in more from the west behind this as opposed to the northwest. All I'm trying to say here is that essentially the snowfall is going to be able to wrap back around just a little bit more, as you can tell, as those winds come on in from the west behind this. Notice that's still a little bit of a line of pink there where we get the the rain and the snow mix. Overall, though, again, not looking at any sort of ice accretion. Maybe some mixed flakes and rainfall at times there. Now again, some of the mountains here into portions of Washington or Oregon picking up a foot of snow, but it's a swath, the shield from all the way from west central Montana through the entire state of Montana pretty much on up into northern North Dakota, where we could see 6 to 12 inches of snowfall. But some of those purple areas that you're seeing on this screen, and they're not in the exact place, they could be anywhere along that purple swath, I'd watch out for up to a foot of snow. Now let's break down the model precipitation walkthrough. This is the Euro for the next 7 days. This first system that we've been seeing for the last couple of days, bringing showers and the chance for a few hail-making, maybe even tornado-producing thunderstorms the last couple of days over portions of, say, Texas, Oklahoma, moving on up into the Great Lakes. That's going to be pushing on out towards the east. All it's really been doing is being a mechanism to bring some precipitation and some of the moisture northward. It's combating this high-pressure system. It's not going to be making it through that system that's, it's the high pressure that was once just recently over portions of the plains. Now we've got new low pressure moving on in behind it into the north central. And again, that's the first one that we're going to see. And then the secondary one kind of combines into that one. And eventually we get this front. This one is not going to be able to break the high pressure system either. Essentially, it's just going to be able to bring around some more of the cool air into the north central. But that's the furthest it's going to get with this system. But what I want to bring up to you here, and by the way, I'm drawing a black line through your Thursday right here, because I want you to note the time. This is Thursday, okay? We've just got the cool air. You can see the isobars tightly packed there over the north central. Those are those lines you see on your screen. Those are pressure lines in millibars, and every single one of them indicates a switch of 2 millibars of pressure. Behind that, the closer they are tightly packed together, the windier it's going to be. Out ahead of this system, again, the high pressure, blocks it up, and essentially it's going to have to ride on over, bring some light precip to the northeast, and then this one is over with. As we go towards the weekend, we begin to see something new get going. There's not much here, but nonetheless, Saturday afternoon, very light snowfall associated with the cooler air behind this. This will be very, very light into Nebraska, on over into Minnesota. Lighter precipitation in the Arklatex. Brief heavy snow into Saturday night going into our Sunday in some of these zones from eastern Colorado through portions of central Iowa. This will not accumulate to much. I don't expect much to stick here. Maybe a quick few inches at best. Mostly, though, this is the reason this system is important, is it's going to be what's able to usher the cool air all the way eastward. You can see this system looks like it's not going to be able to survive. You can see how the front end of this low pressure system moves all the way into the northeast, while the front is still dragging all the way back towards Texas. It's a very weak looking system, and yes, the rainfall does not make it through the high pressure system, but this time you can see the isobars. Those are those lines of the pressure I was pointing out earlier. Those get close together all the way into the southeast and the mid-Atlantic. That indicates that the cold air push will be able to make its way to the east coast at that point, and that's why I mentioned those when showing you the precipitation earlier, so you could see the connection. And then look at this as we head towards the start of November, just pretty much as we go towards Halloween into the first day of November, pretty dry, if not completely dry, over the country. The only thing will be that it will be downright bitter cold for this time of the year. Now, your forecast rainfall through your Halloween time frame, anywhere you're seeing the purples on your screen, that's at least an inch of rain. Some of these reddish purples from portions of Texas on up towards Missouri and Illinois, that's where I'd watch for 2 to 4 inches of rainfall, especially in Texas, the Red River Valley there. I'd be watching for some of the flash flooding over the course of the next few days as I'm filming this on your Tuesday. And over the Great Lakes and the Midwest region, that's also where we will have the chance for flooding. One thing I just wanted to quickly point out, I cover short-term, long-range, severe weather, tropical weather, winter weather, everything you need to know, so go ahead and hit subscribe, hit the bell, all of that stuff. Now let's go ahead and talk about the last thing here, which is that Arctic blast. Your 6 to 10 day temperature probability outlook shows pretty much the entirety of the country cooler than average now, with a good chunk of it in the central part of the country being well below average during that time, but it's going to be even further below average than that graphic shows in about the 4 to 6 day range as I'm filming this, so it's not even as deep of blue on that map as you could get with this particular cold blast, if that makes sense. Now, 10 to 20 degrees above average ahead of this for most people. I was talking about this on my live stream last night. By the way, tune in tomorrow. I'll have another live stream to break this down, so as we go towards your Wednesday evening, I will be giving you that live stream. By the way, if I said Wednesday earlier in this video, then it's Tuesday as I'm filming this, sorry. Anyway, cooler air pushing eastward. You can see as we go towards our Minnesota, towards Iowa, towards portions of Nebraska, very chilly air sinking on down, and temperatures anywhere from 20 to 40 degrees below average over portions of Montana and especially the western Dakotas, while we keep it near average to above average, pretty much above average for most of the East Coast. Now, as we go towards our Saturday, this is when change begins to push southward. Again, this is that weird system that just spontaneously, develops over portions of the central United States. Look at this. You can see how we get a brief surge of warm air once again out ahead of this. Some of the areas that briefly cool down in North Texas and Oklahoma will see another quick surge northward of warmth. But in the end, cold air always wins. And look at this, 30 degrees below average over the entirety of the north central, all the way down to the south central, all the way down into Missouri. This is insane. 10 to 20 degrees below average in this area I'm circling right now, and the only areas that are still going to be warmer than average as we go towards your October 30th are going to be along the east coast and on up into the northeast. This is crazy stuff, and this is really potent for this time of the year especially. I'll show you just how cold we'll get in a minute. And no, you don't think you're spared along the East Coast. This makes it to you in the Carolinas. This makes it to you in Virginia. This makes it to you in Maryland. 10, 20 degrees below average as we head towards this time. Many areas, especially in the Midwest, who haven't seen it, getting their first freeze. Guarantee you many spots in the Southeast and the Mid-Atlantic will get their first freeze. Spots along the New England coastline may get their first freeze if you haven't gotten it already. This is going to be the big blockbuster system that brings the first freeze for sure. And it looks like some of this might linger around even as we go towards your, the first, 5 days of November. So we'll be watching that closely. Warmer does look to be trending upward there over the west coast at that point, though. Saturday morning lows look like this, anywhere from portions of Iowa and the Midwest and northwestward from there, cooler than freezing. This does include portions of Washington and Oregon as well, but we're below 10 with even cooler wind chills there over portions of northern Wyoming, portions of Montana, as well as areas there in North Dakota. As you wake up on your Halloween, it's already going to be feeling spooky, and that night when you're trick-or-treating, it'll be chilly as well. Pretty much in the 20s over the entirety of the north central, 30s all the way down into the Arklatex region, 30s pushing to the mid-Atlantic. So go ahead and like, subscribe, comment so you get all the updates. Tune into my live stream tomorrow, Wednesday. I'll post in the community section exactly when that'll be tomorrow. So thanks so much for watching. Here are the credits.